Hello everyone, and welcome to a tutorial on how to build my honey block farm in Minecraft. This is a design which you might have seen me build on Hermitcraft. Effectively what this design does is it uses the new crafter block to craft up honey bottles into honey blocks and automatically store them. Now the principal design feature and advantage over other honey farms is that this farm design only uses about 16 glass bottles in all to run the entire farm. You never have to refill it. It just automatically produces honey blocks all the time, forever. Now, this farm uses about 100 times fewer glass bottles than a traditional honey farm, and it also never runs out of glass bottles because the glass bottles are actually recycled and reused via a clever system down here. So, without further ado, let's get on with the tutorial. Material list you're going to need for this farm is as follows, so you can see what you need right here. So just pause the video and grab a screenshot. I will make a couple of quick notes. You're going to need some building blocks. I didn't actually count these, so these can be any solid block. I'm just using iron blocks because it's easy to see and build with. Also, you can use beehives instead of bee nests. You can also build half the farm, by the way. I just want to make a big note of that because if you don't have the materials for the whole farm, you can just literally have everything you see here and make one half of this, and it'll work perfectly fine. You'll just get a lower rate of honey production, honey block production, so just make a note of that. Also, the flowering azalea leaves, if you don't have access to those or can't get those, you can also just use dirt and 2 flowers. So that's something you can do. A little bit cheaper, but I like to use flowering azalea leaves because they are both a full block that bees can't get out of, and they serve as a pollination site. The pumpkin pies are only to fill the composters, so make sure you just have if you don't have pumpkin pies, make sure you have a way to fill the composters up with plant materials to certain levels. And then finally, these filler items, these are just any generic item that you rename. Doesn't necessarily have to be dirt, it could be seeds or any other block you have a lot of. But other than that, that is it for the materials list. Let's get started with the tutorial. To start off building this, go ahead and place down 3 double chests up like so. This is going to be where your honey blocks are stored. Then we're going to come to the back, place down 6 hoppers into each of those chests like that. Now place a double chest on top like this, and the same exact thing on the other side here. Then take a hopper, place a hopper into those chests, and then 2 more double chests on top like this and like this. So that is going to be your storage area. Next, come to the back on the bottom hopper, come out 1, 2, 3 blocks, and then over 1. This is going to be where your dropper tower is right here. And we're going to go up 5 blocks. So we have 1 down already, 2, 3, 4, and then on the 5th one, you want the dropper facing inward like this. Then get rid of these temporary blocks. And on the opposite side, do the same thing. So 1, 2, 3, out 1, and then up 1, 2, 3, 4. And then on the 5th block, dropper facing inward toward your main storage area. Then go ahead and get rid of these blocks, and we're ready for the next steps. Next up, we're going to take our hoppers and lead them into this dropper here. So we have hoppers here, here, and here. And then the exact same thing on this side. So leading into this side dropper, there, and there. Next, we'll come to the top here. We want to place down a solid block on top of these hoppers. Make sure it's a solid block. And then we're going to need a hopper facing into this block here and one into this block here as well. Next, take your crafter, have it facing upward so that it is going to shoot an item in here into this large chest, and then one on this side facing upward, which is going to shoot into this large chest. Finally, our last hopper placements. Place a hopper facing into the crafter right here, then place a temporary block out this way, and a hopper facing into that block, then get rid of it. And then do the same thing here on the opposite side. So up like this, and then out like that. And congrats, you've now placed all your hoppers, and now the hard part is over. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to make a item filter out of this hopper right here. So we're going to place a block on this bottom hopper. We're going to have a comparator on top that's on subtract mode. We're going to lead that into a block. which is going to then go into a redstone repeater. Taking that into a block. Underneath, we're going to have some redstone dust. Then another block down here. Repeater like this. Block like this. And then torch right here. Then on this side of your comparator, you want to place a upper slab with some redstone dust. Just like this. Then have a block here. Another comparator facing into that. Then a composter behind here. And then you want to make sure that this composter is on level 2. So if it's not on level 2, you can check that by just doing F3. And you can see mine is on level 2 on the right-hand side there. So, yeah, we want this to have a level of 3 whenever it unlocks. And that's because we want to fill this with 40 blocks. So we're going to just do 10 filler dirt right here. Put that in there. And then we're going to take some glass bottles. We're going to fill in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then on the 6th one, you should see it filter down so that there's one glass bottle below this. So that's what you want to do on that side. Then we're going to do the exact same thing on the opposite side. So I'll just do that real quickly here. So comparator, make sure it's on subtraction mode. Then again, block, then repeater, then another block going into a redstone dust. Then again, go down. Again with the repeater into a block with a torch. Then on this side, we need our upper slab, our dust, our block, our other comparator, and then finally the composter with fill level 2, just like that. And then again, fill in your hopper here. So again, we're going to do another 40 items. In this case, we're just going to do like this. And then again, with the glass bottles, we're going to use 6 of these. So there we go. And then one should filter through to the bottom hopper. So make sure you do the exact same thing like that on both sides. Next thing we're doing is we're making ourselves a honey bottle filter on this topmost hopper. To do that, we're going to place a block right here. Place a comparator leading out of that, going into a block. Then we're going to have another block out like this. Then this is going to come down here, and we're going to put 2 dust here and here. Come to the back side here, place a block, repeater like this, going into a block here, and then a torch right here going into this block. So now, whenever you put in 5 honey bottles, as well as have 4 item filters like this, this should now filter down 1 honey bottle into the honey, or the hopper rather, below, just like that. So that is now completed, and we're going to finally put a dispenser on the top. So we're going to put a dispenser down facing upward, and our bee nest and beehive is going to go actually on top of this. So make sure that is done, and then we can move to the other side, do the exact same thing. So again, comparator facing outward into a block, then a block here, block facing down like this, get rid of those, 2 dust like this, come down, repeater facing back this way, block in here, and then torch like that. Now go ahead and put in your filter items into the top hopper, as well as 5 honey bottles. 1 should go down, and yeah, you should have 1 in the bottom hopper there. Then get your dispenser, have it facing upwards as well on this side, and that's it. Next up, we're making a system that fires the dispenser whenever the beehive or bee nest on top here is full. So we're going to come out with a block here. We want a comparator on subtract mode. Then we'll have 2 blocks out like this. We'll have dust, a comparator, and then a composter. And the composter needs to be filled to level 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Double check, level 4. Very good. Then we'll have a block in front of the composter like this. Block here with dust on it. And then a repeater facing back like that into the block. So then we just do the exact same thing on the other side. So block, Need a comparator, subtract mode, 2 blocks out like this, dust here, comparator here, composter right in there, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then go into a block here with dust and a repeater, and there we go. Next, let's make the system that has the crafters actually craft up the honey blocks automatically and put it into the system. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into both crafters and disable these 5 slots. That way when we have honey bottles in here, it'll automatically have all the slots filled. And do the same on the other crafter on the other side, of course. Next, take redstone repeaters. We're going to face those on top of the hoppers into the block, so be sure to shift to put those on there. Then we're going to have target blocks here and here. We're going to come down a block diagonally. We're going to place redstone dust here. Blocks on top of that. Then we'll place blocks behind our crafters. Again, be sure to shift to be able to place those blocks. And then we want 2 comparators here, both on subtraction mode. Now, come out to the side. We're going to place a comparator here, and then a composter right here on full fill level. So fill all the way up, and then it should also solidify like that. So it's going to be on composter level 8. If you hit F3, you can see composter level 8 on the right side. Then the same thing on the opposite side here. Block here, comparator, composter here on full fill level. Next thing we need is the dropper Vader redstone, which transports empty glass bottles from our dropper down here all the way up into the dispenser up here. To do this, we're going to come with some blocks beside our dropper. We'll have a comparator on this block, then another block with a repeater on it, like so. Then we have 1 block out like this, 3 blocks like this, and then dust on top of all those blocks. Next thing we'll need is an observer on top of the repeater here. Then make sure you have an observer facing into that observer so that it points back toward your dropper Vader tower. Then we'll have a note block, another observer facing upward on the note block, and then back toward the dropper Vader tower like that. So the way you can test this is if you have an empty glass bottle, put one in. It should go all the way up to the top and end up in your dispenser up here. So if it does that, then you've done it correctly. Then, of course, we just make the same thing on the opposite side. So again, block down like this diagonally, blocks out like this. Then our comparator facing this direction with a repeater and 4 dust. Then we'll have our observer facing upward. And it's kind of tricky to get to, but we'll have our observer facing inward toward the dropper Vader. Our note block. Then finally another observer and observer facing back in like that. And again, let's just test this to make sure with our glass bottle. And did it make it up? It did. Nice. So we've done it correctly. The final thing we need to do is to initialize the farm and make our bee enclosure. So what I'm going to use is flowering azalea leaves to make this enclosure. But if you have no flowering azalea leaves or just want to use dirt and flowers, you can use dirt here and 2 flowers instead. But like I said, I'm going to use flowering azalea leaves like this. So we're going to have those leaves there, leaves here and here. Then in the front, we'll have 2 glass blocks. Then we need to remove these 2 middle blocks. Now it's time to place down our bees. Now, when doing this, be very careful because once you place down the nest, if it's during the daytime, bees will come out. So I would recommend doing this either like right at the beginning of night so the bees don't immediately pop out, or you can just place a block here, which is what I'm going to do, to make sure the bees don't come out when you place your first nest. So let's just do this. So bee nest down like that, and you see the bee comes out. Then we're going to break and then replace this block here like that. There's our other nest down. And one final thing you need to do is you need to place 6 empty glass bottles into your dispenser here on both sides. And that is it. You are now done with your farm. All right, we now have a situation where we're about to craft a honey block. You see this is at honey level 4. The next honey bottle we get, we should have a 4 honey bottles in the crafter, which means we should get a honey block crafted. And then these glass bottles should return to 6, as all 4 of the glass bottles that will be in here should get filtered out and then returned to the dispenser. So let's see if that happens when the bees come back out of their hive or out of their nest. Shouldn't take too terribly long. There it is right there. Okay, so let's see. So it's at 2 now. It crafts up. And there's our 4 bottles back. So we now have, once again, 6 bottles in here. So absolutely fantastic. We should have gotten our honey block. And yeah, it looks like the other hive also produced a honey block here, which means that we should have 6 in here as well. Very good. So everything is working properly. And yeah, this farm is now complete. So anyways, guys, with that, that is the tutorial for my bee farm. Hopefully you enjoyed, and hopefully you find it useful in your own worlds. That's it for me. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Cub. Goodbye.